the church, as I'm describing it, you do not find in the Old Testament. Now, people get upset with that sometimes, and they like to quote Acts 7, verse 38, which is Stephen's speech. And Stephen, a Jew, reviews Old Testament history. And in Acts 7:38, he makes this statement, "This is the one who was in the congregation in the wilderness, together with the angel who was speaking to him on Mount Sinai, who was with our fathers, and he received living oracles unto you." And when he talks about the congregation in the wilderness in the time of Moses, he uses the word church, which is the Greek word ekklesia, which is the Greek word translated church. And people say, well, there it is. That's the church in the wilderness. There was a church in the Old Testament. But what I want you to understand is the word ekklesia is not a technical word. You remember what a technical word is? It's a word that always means the same thing everywhere it's used. When Stephen uses the word ekklesia to describe the gathering in the wilderness, he's just talking about synagogue. He's talking about a bunch of Jews getting together in the Old Testament. When Paul uses the word church, he's not talking about a bunch of Jews getting together. He's talking about something totally different, where Jew and Gentile have equal standing in the body of Christ in one new man. Paul takes that word church and infuses into it a meaning that Stephen was not using here in Acts 7:38. So yes, you can find the word church in the Old Testament, but not the meaning that Paul gives it when he's describing the mystery. This new mystery mystery nature of the church is something that the Old Testament never revealed. It is something that Jesus doesn't even talk about it, makes maybe a few hints at it. It's not something that started until Acts 2. And even though it started in Acts 2, Paul really doesn't start to unpack its meaning and explain exactly what's happened until Acts 28, when he wrote the book of Ephesians.